beginning. My job is to determine if a crime was committed at the time. The video evidence, as it's shown right here, doesn't elevate to the level of a crime. Now, hold on, before we get any further, it doesn't mean that Investigator Liberio didn't act inappropriately in his interaction with you, meaning he was yelling at you, he was aggressive, and that he made you feel unsafe. That is absolutely 100% your right to file a complaint against him. It's just not a criminal act in which he can be arrested for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to document everything that we talked about today, as well as the video, which I've already looked at again, and forward it to the State's Attorney's Office for review. They will determine what course of action they're going to do against Investigator Liberio, not me. Okay? Is that fair? I know it sucks for one aspect of it, but at the end of the day, unfortunately I can't articulate a actual criminal code violation like assault or disorderly conduct or.
So I can, and it's already in the complaint. Under the law, according to what happened, it does fall under criminal action, and it's very clear. It does fall under a criminal action. Now, whether or not you all acknowledge that, I can't make you, but it does fall under a criminal action.
Well, unfortunately, we will agree to disagree, and I will forward this along, and potentially a state's attorney will be in contact with you. If you don't hear from them, I will be in contact with you regarding the outcome of today. Okay? Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
My concern is when I first walked in, that decision had already been made, and that's alarming to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I've shown you everything that I've looked at. Okay.
Yes.
And there is no irrefutable evidence to prove otherwise of what occurred, other than how you felt. And that is also the point of today's interview, was to get the totality of the circumstances. And that's why we're having this conversation. And you saw the same video I did. I articulated in that video, as you can see, there is no closed fist. There is no movement towards you that would signify a crime to potentially occur.
So what I'm seeing in the video and what I experienced is a very angry, unhinged man wearing a gun that had been yelling at me the whole time, walked up on me, causing me fear. So under the penal code, I forget the penal code, that is a crime. So that's what I see in the video, and that is what I experienced.
Okay.
So,
and I'm not discounting that.
Yeah, and my concern is that the decisions were completely made that it wouldn't be criminal before I ever got here for the interview, because there's like a systemic problem of just covering up actions that happens out here. And I can speak from my own personal experience, and this is another example.
Okay.
Of things.
Well, I will remind you that I can't refute the video. The video is the video. And if there was a portion of that video in which this interaction was different than how it was recounted or captured, then we'd be having a different conversation. But this video captures the event as it occurs. And there are, like I said, I'm not condoning Investigator Liberio's actions and how he was speaking to you. I don't. I don't believe in yelling at people, as I'm sure you don't either.
No, I don't.
And which is why, we've had a somewhat cordial interaction today. There's no reason for me to get upset and say, hey, you did something wrong or you did something right. At the end of the day, there was a miscommunication when we first started about what you're trying to do as far as the other things are concerned. And once we hammered out our differences and figured out where we all stood on everything, we came to an understanding. We just agreed to disagree about the outcome of this. Yes. So like I said, it is my responsibility to submit it to the State's Attorney's Office for their review. They're the final authority, not me.
Absolutely.
Okay?
When someone in authority is wearing a gun and behaving that way, that's part of what makes it criminal.
And certainly agreed on that, and that is something that could be addressed in a.
Because if he's going to behave that way, he should leave his gun in a back office locked away somewhere. You shouldn't come and be that aggressive with someone that is not showing any aggression towards you, that's being respectful. It's not only inappropriate, That is criminal. That's what intimidation is.
Yeah, he knows
Well,
you are unarmed.
Here's the
And not
thing.
to
He know-
mention,
he
I think
knows.
I may complain about what's happening with the judges, which I have been 2 years, and I am not afraid to speak out and tell the truth. But in no way am I aggressive or I'm like trying to take somebody on or fight or will harm anybody. Everybody knows. You all know that because you're in law enforcement. You know my profile. So for him,
I'll be honest with you. The first time I ever actually met you was last week. I don't know, and here's my other thing too. I don't worry or gather information about somebody before I meet with them because I do not want to poison the pool when I have that interaction. Which is why I had you clarify things that I was unaware of that you have been participating in for the last 2 years to give a fair and impartial and reasonable response to your questions and this investigation.
Do you know, I'm going to just share this. One of my court cases with Judge Arrell, the one that was forced to retire, he had this afternoon hearing where he brought me in specially so the courtroom would be emptied because I had posted a video of an interview with an investigative reporter. This guy lunged his body all the way over, pointing and shouting. I went back on him too. And I went right down and filed a police report against him too.
Okay.
That's the type of stuff that I've had to deal with. You don't get to do that because you're a person of authority. That's just illegal. You can't intimidate and harass people. That's not legal. That's why there are penal codes on the law books for this type of stuff.
And I will go one step further, where there's authorities outside the confines of DuPage County that investigate and potentially prosecute those improprieties and ill-mannered folks, like judges and lawyers. You know, I will give you this food for thought: is do you want the people that work for you to investigate you? You see what I'm saying?
Those are the people that cover up for them.
And that's my point. Is if you believe that you have evidence against sitting judges in DuPage County, would you want the people that deal with them on a daily basis to investigate them, or go to the JIB, go to the Attorney General, and use them who don't have, quote unquote, a dog in the fight?
Do you know who those people are? They're also attorneys.
Well, sure.
So you have attorneys investigating attorneys. That's no matter where it is. So I've taken to the approach, I'm going to report it to every agency until someone does something about it.
Okay. And that's perfectly fine, but I want you also to understand that you may not get the fruition to what your thrust of your complaint is by reporting it to certain organizations that don't have the jurisdiction or the ability to prosecute or investigate. That's what I'm saying. I understand where you're at. You've had a long court battle with many judges and attorneys that have caused your personal life to be changed. Okay. All I'm telling you is that sometimes there are agencies, specifically in this particular case, the State Attorney's Office, that will not or don't, whichever, investigate sitting judges in DuPage County, which is what the Judicial Review Board is for.
Just because they don't do it doesn't mean that it's legal or it's ethical. It's actually unethical that they're not following through and investigating, because it's their job to investigate crimes.
And
fairness
is
their
also
job.
their job, like it is mine, to forward it to the proper authority that can investigate it.
Yeah,
I will tell you,
people have they forwarded to?
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't work over there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if it was here, we would forward it to the Judicial Review Board. That's it. And we would hand it off, and it would go to whatever intake procedures they have, and whether they reach out to you or not, I don't know, because I don't work there either. That's my point.
So since I've made the reports here, you will forward it to the JIB?
No, not for this.
Not for him. The judges. I filed another complaint. Remember the day I saw
So
him in the lobby?
last week?
That will be forwarded to the JIB.
So I don't know where that
curious.
report stands. Okay. I don't know what happened with that interaction.
Okay.
I remember the pen interaction, right? But I don't know what you guys talked to patrol about after that. Where that report goes and so on, it may not come back to investigations. It may go straight out. I don't know. I can't tell you, and I'm not going to tell you right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to have you just confirm that if I'm reporting this to whoever, if they're law enforcement, they have a legal obligation to report it.
Sure.
Not just sit on it.
Well, it's, and what I mean, and what you mean, just so we're clear, what you mean by report it is send it to the proper authority. Like, for example, if you had something to do with child trafficking, we'd send it to the FBI, you know, stuff like that. That's what we mean.
So, most of the crimes the judges have committed, it does fall under federal jurisdiction.
Right.
It should be sent to the FBI.
Okay.
It absolutely should be. I'm glad you mentioned that.
That's my point. Is we are resources light, if you will, on certain aspects of various things around the world. Okay, so reporting them to the you're more than welcome to continue to file reports with Burr Ridge as well as us. Okay, but understand that the fruition or outcome may not be as you think, that we're going to take hands-on approach. We will forward everything that's given to us.
From my experience, because I'm reporting on judges in DuPage County, one of the wealthiest counties in Illinois, there's a lot of hands-off approach.
Well,
so I'm going to continue to report.
Hands-off approach is more towards the actual physical investigation portion, but it doesn't mean it doesn't get to where it needs to be. That's the big change there. You know, I also, like I said from the outset, if you have been given resources or directed to resources that would better assist you in your complaints, then I would encourage you to go to those too.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay.
I've reported to the JIB, DOJ.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
No, that's it.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.